Morning all. So my name is Meredith from SonicWall. I'm the northern-based territory account manager for SonicWall, looking after partners, and I've got my colleague Colin with me today as well. I've decided to split the presentation into two on purpose because we've recently launched our latest threat report, which gives us a hell of a lot of information around what's going on with the threat landscape. We call it a cyber arms race because it is getting that scary in some instances. And then what we want to do, when we've kind of shown you what is going on, potentially what's to be expected, we're going to show you a little bit more about the products and services and functionality that we offer and how that relates to GDPR for you. Okay? So, what's this threat report? Where does it come from? We have tens of thousands of live SonicWall solutions out in the wild, and we're constantly collating information from those solutions. We're looking for lots of different things, whether it's the amount of malware, ransomware that's out there, the type of ransomware, how we can see new things, whether it's things we've seen before, and we're always updating our solutions and putting a lot of that information into market research, how we're developing the product, but ultimately putting things like this together to help customers and potential customers just so they've got a better understanding of what's going on. Really important that we do that, obviously, because we need to make sure that in a security environment it's constantly changing. There's always something new in the press, a new version of ransomware, a new virus, a new type of activity, and we'll touch on that a little bit as we go through. So what's the industry like at the minute? You can see there's a couple of years back as to the amount of malware and breaches that we've seen, and it was quite a successful year in 2017 for hackers and criminals out there. It jumped quite considerably. We saw a hell of a lot of activity out there, and fortunately we have that information. We can now look at putting that in place to protect you in further instances. I'm going to split it down into two areas, this as well. So we're going to look at the security industry advances as well as the cyber criminal advances as well. So it's almost like a good news, bad news situation, okay? We're the ones on the left, just in case. We're going to look at ransomware. It has declined, which is good. It's good news. We're going to look at the volume of SSL traffic, encrypted traffic on the internet, exploit kits, and law enforcement. So this is a big thing for us. So ransomware is probably the thing you've heard most about. People getting attacked and being asked to pay X amount of thousands of dollars on bitcoins and things like that. We actually saw a 71% decrease, which is fairly positive you'd expect. And I think the reason for this is publicity. We've seen so much press around things like ransomware. People are aware that that's an issue. They're improving their security solutions, and potentially they're not paying anymore. We've seen so many instances where you pay somebody to recover your data, get yourself back on board, stop crippling your organisation, but you don't actually get the data back. So why pay if you're not actually going to get anything from it? So there's lots of instances like that that we see has contributed to why this element has come down. It's still by far the weapon of choice for cyber criminals out there, is ransomware. So it's still a big issue for us, but we are looking at improvements there. And you can see on the right, it's by far the Americas that are getting the most of this, but closely followed by Europe. So we're definitely in the mix for all of that. SSL. Everybody familiar with SSL traffic? Encrypted traffic on the internet. Basically, you set a little padlock on your web address. It's a huge environment now. Most organisations, most companies are providing information via secure traffic. The big ones as well, like Google, Facebook, things like that. On average, we've seen that all the traffic on your network is 68% of it is SSL encrypted traffic. So there's only about 30% of it that isn't nowadays. Okay? And that represents a 24% increase based on last year's, and it's only getting bigger. There's only more traffic that's going to go towards SSL and encrypted traffic for us. So potentially, our network could be 100% encrypted traffic. If you're doing a hell of a lot of work around online activity and using organisations and information from various websites that is all SSL, it might be higher than that, it might be lower, depends on your organisation, but on average, we're seeing about 68% of the traffic within typical usage is encrypted traffic. I'm not going to tell you what we do about that, because that would be stealing Colin's thunder a little bit, but it's really interesting why that's important. Hopefully there'll be some examples and questions around that when we finish. The next thing I want to talk to you about is exploit kits. Now, there's lots of things out there, lots of new functionality. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Microsoft Edge, obviously things that Apple are bringing out. There's lots of new functionality, new products and applications constantly coming out. Previously, things like Adobe Flash, they're no longer supported by lots of browsers. It was a target for criminals, cyber criminals, to look at infiltrating and exploiting the vulnerabilities. And we've seen a decrease in the amount of activity going across to Adobe because they're intelligent people. They're running these organisations, although they're criminal organisations, they're still a business. They see that the reward isn't as high, isn't as easy to get to if they're attacking Adobe, but maybe there's vulnerabilities to some new things and some new areas. So Microsoft Office has increased, and things like Excel and Word, we've seen a big increase in vulnerabilities there, and we've seen a big increase in vulnerabilities on Microsoft Edge and Apple TV and things like that. So it's the way the horizon is changing, the environment that we're working in. There's lots of new things, lots of old things. When things are no longer supported, people tend to stop using them, they're not patching them potentially. That might present a vulnerability, and obviously with new products coming out, with them being so new, there may be an opportunity to exploit that environment also. And then law enforcement. We don't tend to see this as much, if I'm honest. It's always the bad news that hits the press. Such and such has been hacked, data's been lost from this organisation. We've had some key arrests that we feel has affected the flow of malware and ransomware within that environment, which is great news. There's law enforcement both in America, within the UK, within Europe, that's helped a lot with that, and that's disrupted that supply chain. So hopefully that's helping. We're making sure that we're not getting access to that type of material. And let's look at the other side of this arms race, the cyber criminals and what they're doing and their advantage. Again, similar kind of topics that we're going to be looking at. Ransomware variants. So we said ransomware has gone down, which is fine. But those ransomware attacks that we're seeing, the amount of variants within there now has doubled. So they're getting smarter. We're now seeing that there's less ransomware coming, but that ransomware that is coming is totally different. It's brand new, it's stuff that we've not seen before, or it's a combination of previous malware issues that we've identified. And that's considerably jumped within the past couple of years. And here's a bit of interesting information. When we look at that SSL, that encrypted traffic, we're now seeing, on average, nearly 5% of that traffic is now encrypted and now has malware content and now is infiltrated by malicious content. So you're saying to the internet, I'm okay with that, secure tunnel that there, send me that information, but hackers have found a way of getting malware within that encrypted channel now. So if we're not identifying what that is and inspecting what that content is, potentially we're creating a problem for ourselves. We worked out, on average, there's around 900 cases of that happening to an average organisation every year. And we all know it only takes one instance where we can potentially cripple your organisation. So, not that much potentially, but still, because the amount of SSL traffic is always going to be increasing, we don't see that going down. I expect that to be a bigger problem for us in the future. And malware cocktails, this is interesting. It's not the fun cocktails, unfortunately. Malware cocktails is basically we're looking at malware that hasn't worked, it's been identified before, and you've probably seen this in the past. Once SonicWall especially see an instance of malware, we get a signature from that. We know what it looks like and we know what to look for if we see it again. If you then change a tiny bit of code there or amalgamate it with a different piece of malware, that becomes a brand new instance for us, brand new issue. And that's on the increase as well, where they're looking at, we're not successful with this piece of malware, we're not successful with this piece of malware, let's pull those together, see if we combine those threats, maybe encourage it not to open straight away, get past your firewall, maybe get past the elements of your sandbox, and then we'll open when we know we're in the network where we can cause some problems. It's that type of issue that we're seeing an increase within the malware cocktail area. And then this is a new one for us. This is something we're going to see, or we see as a big problem for next year. And I would expect the 2019 threat report to have a lot more information around processor threats. Have you heard of Meltdown? Is that something that you're familiar with? We're not either, it's that new. The beginning of this year, we started to see that within a processor, so your AMD chip, your Intel chip, whatever you're using, there's certain vulnerabilities there where a hacker could, within nanoseconds of getting access to it, start to steal little bits of information. So whether that be passwords or addresses, and start to build a picture of potentially what your network looks like. And that is something that not many organisations can see, can detect. So we've created our RTDMI technology, which allows us to see that activity. It's based on a machine learning program, so it's constantly evolving. So the more we see of it, the better it's going to be. And that's something that we've released to try and combat that new element to this arms race. Okay, so that's probably in 6-12 months we're going to see a lot more activity, a lot more security issues around there. Okay. I'm not going to read all these points out because I know you've got the slides, but there's just some key kind of points below there around each element that we've discussed today, so it's worth having a quick look. We do have a threat report. It's by far SonicWall's most popular resource. We get this out every year, and we come out and do sessions like this on a regular basis throughout the year. Make changes where appropriate, but please get to our website and download a copy of it. Have a read through. Speak to K3 as well if you've got concerns around how you're protecting your network and what your security issues are, where potential vulnerabilities are. And myself and Colin will be more than happy to have those conversations with you as well today. Now, let's look at GDPR and the technology that SonicWall provide.
Everybody, so I'm Colin Gracie. I'm an enterprise security specialist for SonicWall. Jason's done a really great job of telling you about some of the legislation around GDPR and what it means to use organisations. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the technology that will help you be GDPR compliant. What's the things that probably need to change within your environments and the things you aren't doing just now that will make you GDPR compliant or help towards GDPR compliance. As Jason said, I'm going to focus on the IT part of it. Real desk policies, HR policies and everything else that are not involved in IT. I will not cover them. They are part of education processes for your organisations and lots of other things that don't concern an IT manager. So just a quick, who's an IT manager, director in charge of IT? Will understand what I'm saying, yeah? Cool. Staff awareness and training, that's one of the big things. So an example, 70% of malware comes through email. It's the biggest breach in any organisation, next to people stealing paper, comes through emails. People get an email from Microsoft that's not from Microsoft, they click on the link, then go try to log into fake websites. That's a breach, right? That staff awareness and training is a big part of it. You can have IT systems and tools in place to try and prevent it happening. You can't fix stupid. You can't see people clicking on things they shouldn't click on, right? So that's where that comes in, right? So all businesses need to have the appropriate measures in place. As a security specialist, I could tell you about lots of different security, having layered security and security policies and lots of fancy systems and sandbox and everything else that will help your organisations from being breached. Anyone who tells you their security systems are 100% safe is selling you snake oil. If somebody really wants into your system, they will get into your systems. It's about how do you know that they've been into your system, how do you know that you've had a breach, what remediation action can you take to fix it, how quickly can you report on it, and how do you identify what's actually been stolen and stuff like that. It will happen. If it hasn't already happened to you as an organisation, it probably might have happened and you just don't know about it, or it will happen at some point in the future, right? Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is just the way it is. When you look at the amount of hacks that we see worldwide and the evolving nature of threats, it will happen at some point. So we break it down into kind of key pillars of some technological systems that will help towards GDPR compliance. The key focus for us, because it's what we do, is perimeter firewalls. The firewalls are the gateway to your network. You all have a firewall, and probably lots of you will have a SonicWall firewall if you're a K3 customer. But there's some changes in GDPR that make it more important. So when you look at the rise in SSL traffic, right? So if you're not doing DPI SSL, right, which gives you the ability to inspect the encrypted traffic, then you're ignoring that 70% of your traffic. The 5% of breaches that come through that method, if you can't see it and you can't inspect it, how can you stop it? And how do you know that you've been breached if it comes through that? That's when next generation firewalls come in. The challenges are ever changing. The trends in IT are changing. When you look at bring your own device, mobile devices, the changing the use of application, virtualization in the cloud using Azure and AWS as a service, all these big trends in IT that you'll all be embracing because they're good for business enablement and other things. They also have security challenges as well, because if you start pushing everything to your cloud, how do you then mitigate risk pushing the data and the information from the cloud? How do you protect that information? How do you protect who's got access to that information? So you need to make changes to your security policy based on the IT trends and the business enabling factors that you're introducing. You've got any traffic encrypted and unencrypted, but there's some key things to look at. As I say, inspecting all traffic, which we'll go on to, multi-engine sandboxing. When you look at the amount of variants and the new pieces of malware, AV only works on a signature-based basis. All AV works the same, right? Where you know about a piece of malware, you've got a signature for it, you say, right, that's WannaCry, there's a signature for WannaCry, you put the two together, it blocks WannaCry, right? If it's a new piece of malware that nobody's ever seen before, there's no signature for it. So no AV in the world stops it, because it doesn't know. You get fancy holistic network trending algorithms and things, but AV, and what most of you will probably use in terms of traditional AV, does not stop brand new pieces of malware, which is why you need sandboxing. I've touched on why multi-engine is important as well, and blocking it until verdict. There's lots of solutions that will actually let the person download the file. So they went onto a website, clicked on a PDF, it lets you download that malicious PDF while it takes it away to the sandbox and the sandbox opens it. Can anybody see a glaringly obvious problem with that scenario? That's already in your network. That's already doing the bad thing. And then usually the IT manager gets an email and a notification that says, by the way, John just downloaded a PDF that's got into your SQL server. How much information is seen by the time you check your email to tell you that that was already done? So blocking the bad files before they get into your network is key. So multi-engine sandboxing, that's important because, as I say, you've got malware cocktails and advanced malware these days that has evasion tactics. It knows that it's in a sandbox. So if you're only using a traditional sandboxing solution, some other technologies, they run it as a VM, for example, within the firewall. It recognises the VM signature and says, well, I'm in a sandbox here, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to wait until I actually get on a server or a laptop, and then I'll do the bad thing. So we use multi-engine sandbox. So the only vendor to do that, we run at the hypervisor level, so it's checking to see what it's trying to do at the hypervisor level. Last line, which is a traditional sandbox solution, you can buy a last line appliance. Our own proprietary one, which is full system emulation. And then the fourth one, which David touched on, and we're the only vendor currently doing real-time deep memory inspection. So that's the protects against meltdown and Spectre. Just now it's not too important. It's a bit of a pain for your end users if someone gets a meltdown or Spectre breach, because it messes with the clock speed of your processors and kind of slows down the system and stuff. But it will become more important. As time goes on, they will work out how to extract more information at the memory kernel level, and then it becomes more of a data breach issue. So it was kind of cart before the horse. We happened to be working on it before meltdown came out. So we're quite fortunate in that place, but we're the only ones that currently has a technology. Intel's fix is we're going to reduce your clock speed by 20% and wait a couple of years and we'll develop a new chipset that will run faster and might be able to protect against it. So there's no fix coming from Intel, and AMD is affected by it as well now. So it's something you need to be looking at, because there's not an easy fix coming from the processor family. So the way that it works is essentially it will take files, and rather than just looking at the file from an AV point of view, It's looking at them saying, what does this file actually do? And it's opening the file. It's in this analogy, you go to the doctor, you put a sore hand, it says, well, at first glance there's nothing, takes an X-ray, still nothing, then looks at it at the MRI scan level. So it's actually opening files, seeing what they actually do. If you download a PDF, is it just a PDF? Or does it try to connect back out to a command and control server? Is it trying to connect to a different bit of your network? It's looking to see what that file actually does. One of the cool things that it actually does for you guys from an IT point of view, it will give you a report to show you what the malicious thing done. So if someone clicks on a link in an email and it had ransomware, it would show you the ransomware note, because we're actually opening it and we're essentially getting affected by that ransomware, but our systems are protected at the back end and it doesn't do anything. But it will send you and say, here's the ransomware note that this person should have got, which is good for an education purpose, because you can then take that back to that end user. So in your example, the Microsoft person, and you go, listen, see that link you clicked on? That's what would have happened to your laptop. Stop doing it. So it's a good education and training purpose. Endpoint protection is also very important, because you have lots of users. The majority of the users will have mobile devices and laptops. The desktop world is kind of dying. Office 365 is kind of seen away with that and things. So it's almost laptops, they need to have decent endpoint protection. What's important is having endpoint protection that talks to your other systems. So if you do have someone who happens to have a laptop that's been affected and it's a new piece of malware, etc., once you then connect it to your network or they come into your organisation, it talks to the firewall and says to the firewall, that laptop's infected. The firewall can then block the port onto that laptop. So having integrated systems that have got APIs that will talk to each other and can make rule set changes to other systems to give you a more holistic approach to your security, rather than having a siloed approach where nothing talks to anything, having them joined together. So SonicWall use Sentinel-1 and our own sandboxing solution that also has a rollback feature. So if it does get infected, you can simply roll back. And as I say, having the two systems that talk to each other is key. We have updated it, so we've got RESTful API support, so there are other systems that will talk to a SonicWall firewall, but it's key to have that integration into systems. Encryption of data. Jason explained this. If it's encrypted, it's not a breach. So basically encrypt everything. That's my advice. Right? Encrypt all your data at rest, encrypt it in the move. Emails is obviously a huge topic. People talk about emails. It's still the biggest number of breaches come through emails. Email isn't really secure. If you send someone personal data through email, it's relatively straightforward to hack those systems, because unsecured email, Office 365 email is not secure. It doesn't send it securely. It's not encrypted. Having email encryption services, things like that, then become important. So your encrypted data, while it's in transit as well as in rest, and these things are important, because then it's not a breach, because nobody can access it because it's encrypted. So encrypt it. Right? There's lots of tools out there. There's BitLocker and K3 will be able to advise you lots of systems for your back-end tools and stuff that will be able to encrypt all your stuff. SSL encryption. We've covered it, and I'm going to keep going on about it because it is key. People don't do it for two reasons. Performance, right? You bought a firewall, you've got 100 meg connection, you bought a firewall that does 100 meg with most of your things switched on. You switch on DPI SSL, it will kill your network. Your firewall will die, right? Fact, right? So you need to then look at, you need to buy a bigger firewall to enable you to have DPI SSL enabled to then do it. The other side of things, it's not easy to do. You're messing with DPI SSL certificates, right? The little padlock you get, all that means is you have an encrypted connection between a host website and an end user. That they've got a certificate, you authenticate the certificate, and it gives you an SSL connection. That does not mean that traffic's safe. Google now promote you, which is why there's a rise. Google promote you as a HTTPS website. If you've got a HTTP website, you appear on page 20 of Google searches, right? Just because it's HTTPS does not mean it's secure. It only means the connection between the host website and the endpoint secure. Facebook uses HTTPS. Who in this room has had a message from one of their friends on Facebook saying, don't accept any links that you get sent from me because my Facebook's been hacked? Everybody? Yeah? Facebook's encrypted. There's no implicit trust in the source of data just because it uses an encrypted source. So you need to be inspected, right? It is difficult to do because you're breaking that certificate chain. The firewall sends a certificate to the host website and then sends its own to the endpoint. You can integrate Microsoft enterprise certificates. There are applications that will throw a fit if you try and break the certificate authentication process. Things like Dropbox will just say no and will stop working if you try to do DPI SSL on it. So then it becomes important as well to have a firewall that will do DPI SSL but isn't an all or nothing, that can give you granular control over what you're actually enabling and disabling. So SonicWall by default, banking isn't included in the DPI SSL because you shouldn't be inspecting people's banking traffic because they're banking. But then you can do it at other levels. To restrict the performance issue, there's certain traffic types and certain applications and stuff you will implicitly trust, and you should implicitly trust. Your Office 365 traffic, you don't really need to do DPI SSL on that, so you don't enable it for that feature, and it reduces the performance hit that you're going to take. So being able to do it in a granular fashion to manage it properly, that's important, and that's where we kind of shine, is doing the DPI SSL side of things. Email security, again 70% comes through email. When you look at Office 365, who has Office 365 or considering rolling out Office 365? Yeah, lots of people. It's a great tool, great for productivity, gives people access to their information on the move, it's a modern way of doing things. Microsoft kind of implicitly admit that their Office 365 isn't really secure because they sell you ATP on top of it. Right? So if Office 365 was perfectly secure, there would be no need to sell you ATP from Microsoft on top of it. Right? Most of the sets come through email. ATP costs you $10, $11 a user a year. You get a dedicated email solution for less money that will have more features. So if you look at our hosted email solution for Office 365, you point your Exchange server from Office 365 to SonicWall's hosted solution, it scans it, has a capture ATP sandbox in it, so someone's clicking on a link or a PDF or an attachment that's in an email that they shouldn't be clicking on, it's taken to the sandbox, it's open, so it protects from zero-day attacks, as well as all the AV and traditional protection that it does, and then other things you can add. Email encryption as a service. So if you are sending personal information, so if you're sending customer information from you to a supplier or from you to somebody else out in the field, etc., use encryption. Compliance, data loss prevention, you can flag up so that the only people who's allowed to send spreadsheets is finance, nobody else is sending spreadsheets. All these kind of features that you don't even get in the ATP side of things, that you will get with a dedicated email security system. So we're currently seeing in the market about 40% of Office 365 users take dedicated email appliances over and above ATP. And we would highly advise it. You're going to save you money and you get more features. So it seems a no-brainer. And secure remote access. Secure remote access is becoming more and more important because mobile workforce. I won't go too much because I'm guessing the multi-factor authentication guys will cover that in quite a bit of detail. But just having decent policies so that you know who, what, where and when people are out. You can make it so that they only get restricted access if they're in an internet cafe that's got open Wi-Fi as opposed to in their house and these kind of things. Setting up decent security policies based around your remote workers and who they are and what device they're on is really important. And disaster recovery and backup. Decently touched on this as well. Anybody watch Mr. Robot? Yeah, I thought it was the only geek, right? Yeah, geeks in the room that watch programmes about hacking. Right, so Mr. Robot it was theatralised, but it's a valid way to breach systems. Is so if you get ransomware, what's the first thing you do these days? Go, well, I'm not paying your ransomware, I've got to go to my backup, right? So having a decent disaster recovery and backup scenario, because if you actually go against somebody who has a grudge against you and wants to take down your systems, the first thing they will do is actually take out your backup. So you need to be able to have systems and processes in place to check your backups, because that's what it does, Mr. Robot. They go after your backup. Then when you get the actual hack and you go, well, oh, my system's breached, I'll go back and I'll back up. The backup's been wiped out. And then all your systems are down. You have no, and that's, as Jason said, that's when you are in a severe breach, because that data's gone, and that's when you potentially face fines. So again, K3, it's not a SonicWall solution. We don't have a backup solution, but K3 and the guys will be able to help you out with disaster recovery. But from a security standpoint, checking your backups, making sure they actually work, and you can back up from them. That's where it becomes important. So just to recap, perimeter is key. From a reporting point of view, the 72 hours, that's game changing from IT. Does any could take a stab in the dark at what the average number of days to a breach is currently? Anybody? Give us a number. 215 days is the average number of days that it takes organisations to know and notify about a breach. So you're not going from a couple of weeks to 72 hours. More than 6 months, down to 72 hours. So that's what it comes down to. You need to have systems and processes in place that give visibility of your network. You need to know who's doing what, when, and where in your network. Can anybody honestly say they have full visibility control? They can see exactly what users are doing, what on the network, what applications they're using, what websites they're connecting to, if there was an actual vulnerability, where it came from, and all that kind of stuff. Probably not, right? And don't feel bad about it. I speak to organisations every day, lots of them. They're all in the same place. But this is where you need to be aiming towards. As I say, the May isn't the deadline, but it's where you should be aiming towards. To have that visibility and control of your network so you can see that type of thing. And that's where these systems and processes come into place. If you do have any questions, myself and David will be about the rest of the day. And just to leave you on a scary thought, ransomware, right? I love scaring these. Ransomware, you all know what it is. Encrypts your laptop, says we've encrypted your laptop, gives a bit of a Bitcoin, and we'll wipe your data. We go, well, bugger you, I'm going to back up to my backup, that'll be fine. The bad guys know about GDPR as well, right? They're not daft. It's already on the dark web. They're talking about changing ransomware, that rather than encrypting a laptop and saying, yeah, give us it, we'll wipe your data, they'll take your data, sit in it for 6 weeks, then the ransomware will say, we've had your data for 6 weeks, give us a Bitcoin, I would tell the ICO. That's using government legislation for extortion purposes. There's a reason they're criminals, they're not nice people, they're out to get money any way they can. So, just that's a happy wee thought to leave you with today. So, thanks very much, guys. The NSA 2600 is a firewall rather than so we've got dedicated email security appliances, whether it be a hosted solution or it could be virtual appliances and all that kind of stuff. The 2600 is a firewall. It will inspect traffic, it will inspect your SMTP traffic and your emails and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the ability to do the email encryption as a service. You need a dedicated email appliance for that because you're essentially changing the SMTP traffic and things. The firewall is only there to inspect it, not to manipulate it. Yeah, so if somebody clicks on PDF, let's say, right? So they've opened a PDF. I've got more technical slides that show it. So basically, you click on that link. When it hits the firewall then is so our sandbox is cloud-based sandboxing. So it then sends that file to our capture sandbox. It sends the end user a little pop-up that says the file you are trying is unknown to the network. Please bear with me. On average, 85% of things are scanned within like 2 seconds. If it's something we absolutely haven't seen before, so Virus Total is the first pass, 62 EV engines. Then going into the actual sandbox where it's opening the file and all that kind of stuff, that can take up to like 10 seconds, sometimes a minute, depending on if it's a gig file, it's going to take pages. So yeah, take it to our cloud and run in our cloud environment. We've launched a new thing, Capture Cloud Platform, which actually ties together all the security systems. So if you had firewalls and emails and endpoint AV, it would give you a single pane of glass view of what's happening in terms of threats in your network and stuff. But the cloud goes to the Capture Cloud, and that's where the machine learning comes into it as well. So if you are patient 0 and you're in Southeast Asia, and you've got a SonicWall firewall that sends this PDF to get scanned, and you're patient 1 and you're here in the UK, and you've clicked on it a couple of milliseconds later, because you've already seen it, you're instantly protected, because it uses the capture network, all the stuff that we use for the threat report. That's also a benefit because it's in the cloud, so it's instant. If you're using an on-appliance system, then you're waiting for that to be identified, and then that system to go back, talk to a SOC, who then creates a signature, sends out all the signatures to all the firewalls. Having cloud-based multi-engine gives you the best level of protection because it's instant.